Boise State is celebrating its 50th season of Bronco football in 2017. Brian Harsin is back for his 4th season in Boise after leading the program to 31 wins in his first 3 years. Hi, I'm Jesse Kurtz in the Mountain West Network studio. The Broncos returned 9 starters from a team that went 10-3 last season, which included a trip to the Cactus Bowl. Here's what you need to know heading into the new season as we count down to kickoff with the Boise State Broncos. Junior quarterback Brett Griffin is back in control of the Boise State offense after back-to-back All-Mountain West seasons. Griffin threw for a league-best 3,636 yards and 24 touchdowns in his sophomore year, leading the top-ranked offense in the Mountain West.
Being in adverse situations like we were last year, I think, if I go back on the couple games that we've lost in conference, I would have handled some situations differently and, went and got, some guys fired up and made sure that they knew that, I was confident that we were still going to win this game, and so that, everybody else feels that confidence. So that's something that I've definitely worked on and I'm going to implement this year.
He's a guy that knows the habits that it takes to be successful, so now take those and start to help other guys, bring them along too. This is where the leadership qualities really start to show, because now you know what you have done to be successful. Share that. Share with other guys, bring them along, and then get those other leaders and strong leaders on the team with you.
After losing running backs to the NFL in 2 of the last 3 seasons, Alexander Madison will be the go-to ball carrier in the Broncos' backfield. Though just a sophomore, Madison did carry the ball 67 times for 328 yards last season, and it's shown he has the makings of being the next great running back at Boise State.
He came in as a guy that was ready to play college football from day one. I mean, was just physically built and ready to play. And, he's had to work really hard this offseason, having shoulder surgery during the spring and had to sit out the entire spring camp. So, he's been in the training room literally every day, working his butt off to get back to where he needs to be. And, I'm ready for him to have a big year.
I always think it's different when you're kind of going from being in there as a guy that is kind of the sidekick a little bit, so to speak, and now you're going to become the guy. There's a lot more to it, and so he knows that. He's prepared himself, I think, really well.
Defensive tackle David Moah returns after registering 8.5 sacks a season ago. The junior, who is on many preseason National Award watch lists, headlines a program that led the nation with 17 sacks over the first 4 games in 2016 and finished the year allowing the 2nd fewest points per game in the Mountain West.
Unbelievable human being, a guy that everybody, he's got that quality too, that when he's around people, he makes people feel good about themselves, very humble, hungry in everything he does.
When I talk to somebody, it's really close, heart to heart. I'm not saying it just to say it, but and for someone like Coach Harsin to say that about me is also truly a blessing as well. So.
Boise State's schedule includes matchups with 8 teams who went to bowl games last year, including a showdown at 2-time defending Mountain West champion San Diego State on October 14th, a highly anticipated matchup between conference powers that hasn't happened since 2014.
I mean, that's a game that I think we all have on our calendar, especially because they've been at the top of the conference the last couple of years. So, we're looking forward to going down there and competing with them.
Especially me being from San Diego, I should have that chip on my shoulder being through the whole recruiting process. I'm not saying nothing bad has happened, but just choosing to go to Boise State instead of San Diego State, my native or local college, just puts a chip on my shoulder. And them being the top, you always want to play the top to be at the top, so I'm excited to play them at their home.
Boise State has the toughest schedule they've seen in a while, and they're going to do it with a lot of fresh faces. One of the guys back that I expect to have a big year is wide receiver Cedric Wilson. He had 56 catches last year for over 1,100 yards. Big questions, who's going to be the second receiver with him? Boise State, in the time I've been here, has always had a second receiver catch at least 36 passes, so finding that number 2 receiver is going to be key. And on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of fresh faces. My breakout player is DeAndre Pierce, who's going to be a starter at safety. I think this Boise State team can win the league. I think this Boise State team can win 10, 11 games. But they're going to have to be on point every week, because every week is a challenge this year, more than any of the last 10 seasons for the Broncos.
Thanks, Bob. Boise State kicks off the 2017 season at Albertson Stadium when the Broncos host Troy on September 2nd. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.